Hello there. What is going on, everybody? They dropped an attack on all fronts article last night after the Wave 7 leaks for X-Wing 2nd Edition, and now we have some better images, a little bit more, and more of a proper announcement article. So we're going to talk about that this morning. And I want to quickly give a shout out to Luxury Playstyle, who is sponsoring my X-Wing videos. I just want to remind you guys about the code Crabbok VIP to save 15%. These are amazing tokens, guys. They feel fantastic. There's 3 different finishes. You can build a custom order with new ships coming out. Maybe you're going to want to have them hit the table and have fancy new shields on them, or a good amount of charge tokens. There's a lot of charge in this wave. Force tokens. There's a lot of force tokens in this wave. I've also got Calculate as well as Evade as well as Focus tokens now, and they're always growing. So make sure you check them out and use code Crabbok VIP to save 15%. Check out luxuryplaystyle.com. So we have our Attack on All Fronts article that showed us a little bit more of these ships. As you know, I talked about Wave 7 yesterday. And by the way, I am doing something different with the audio right now. I'm trying to get a little more clarity. So let me know what you think of the audio, if this is better or worse than some previous videos. So what we have got is we have got our Xi-class shuttle here, and we've got a better image of it, and we can see things a little bit better. For example, it does appear to have 2 shields, so that is good. However, it still doesn't look like there's shield tokens, but you know, definitely does appear to have 2 shields, so that is good. We get some good looks at the dial here. So the Xi-class shuttle has got the 0 hard stop. It looks like it's gonna be very similar in many ways to a Lambda. Not exactly the same, but very, very close. It's gonna have a kind of hard time turning around. It's got the hard 2 white, which is one way that it can turn, but the hard 3 is going to be red. There's no K turn or S loop or anything like that. But it does have its ones are blue, and its 2 straight and 2 banks are blue as well. So it's got a little bit easier time. It has a few options when it wants to clear stress, but still not going to be the most maneuverable ship out there. Now, we do get a closer look at some of the upgrade cards. You know, it's going to have that rigged cargo chute in there. It looks like it's going to have, it looks like there's this new kind of snapshot type card that is in a couple of the ships in this particular wave. And I see Commander Price, or Pyre rather, in there from Star Wars Resistance. The same guy, Belarus or Malarus, who is one of the pilots as well as one of the crew. It seems like we're getting him as well. And then of course we have Terex, who we're going to see a little bit in a little bit more detail right here. But also we have a better look at the ship itself. So it's a 2252 ship, and also there is a sensor device card that's going to go out there, and with 3 agility. So it's, that's kind of those new tokens. That's what it looks like. I guess as to why there's 2 of them, maybe in case you're playing a mirror match, so you can have one, your opponent can have a different one. One's red, one's blue, something like that. I think that was right here. Yeah, you can see the red and the blue token. I mean, they could have just made it double-sided, so maybe it is possible to drop 2 of them. We'll have to see. So we have now, I do want to point out that when we look at our pilots there, we've got a 3, a 5, a 4, and a 2 for the generic. Our Initiative 3 pilots does appear to have an additional ability. It looks almost like he's got 2 different abilities. It looks like a setup and then an extra ability. So that might be specifically the pilot that deals with that new device. So now Agent Terex is a first order particular crew. Now I'm actually curious where this guy comes from, because I don't recall seeing him before. My guess is, is that a Mandalorian helmet behind him? It looks kind of like a Mandalorian helmet. My guess is he's probably from the comics. So Agent Terex has set up, equip this side, face up, and place 3 calculate tokens on this card. At the start of the engagement phase, you may choose a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 and remove 1 calculate token from this card to have the ship gain a matching token. Then, if there are no calculate tokens on this card, flip it. Now, we don't get to see what the other side is, however. So There we go. But yes, so you know what? Hey, calculates are nice. I really do like calculates, actually. So we've got Agent Terex there. Now we have our LAAT, and we have a little bit better look at this. We were talking earlier about, a lot of people have been talking about this face-down crew card from the early images that leaked. And it does, you know, a lot of people are thinking it's got to be Yoda. It's got to be Yoda. And I mean, Yoda could be in this pack, but I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Because we can see that we've got Ayala Secura or Ayla Secura that's showing face up. We've got the dial there. We've got Ayla Secura. We've got Kit Fisto, kind of off to the right. So and of course our preview is for Plo Koon. So that adds up to the 3 Force tokens that we see, because since there's 3 different Force users. Now, my guess is that it'll be 2 crew and a gunner. It was kind of my guess. So yeah, that's kind of how this is probably going to be built. Now, we do have, very similar to, kind of similar to what we were looking at before, but even less maneuverable. Although, we still got that zero hard turn, the 0 stop rather, 3 hard turns for the that are red. It's got a 4 straight that's also red. Our blue really is lacking here. You've only got your 1 and 2 straights that are blue. Everything else is white, minus the reds. So really, really rough dial on this one. But I think we can make up for that because when we look at some of the pilots. Oh, by the way, it also looks like we're getting a Captain Rex crew in there. Maybe the 3rd from the left. It's definitely Captain Rex. So that's cool. So that's a nice thing to see. All right. Now, as we look at the actual ship cards itself, we do have that it's 21822, and they may all have charge. Based on the spacing, it kind of looks like they'll all probably have charge at the end or something like that, because they seem to all have it. Now, for the weapon, it is a double arc turret, so that explains the double arc turret in there. It's not a separate equipment; they're just their primary weapon. They'd have focus, they have target lock, which are both white. They do have, looks like reinforce, that's red, as well as reload and, of course, moving the turret. Now, it's a white reload, so that's certainly nice. So you definitely probably going to want to outfit these things as gunships. And they have some type of fire crossover or something like that. It could be fire cheeseburgers. It might be fire cheeseburgers, yes. That might be exactly...
Yes, the time has come to launch the fire cheeseburgers.
Or actually, it would be... he would say it differently, I think, maybe. I don't know how Yoda would word that out if they were launching flaming cheeseburgers at their opponents. But, maybe it was to feed a planet that's been starved out by the Separatists. Give them some spicy hot Cheetos and some spicy hot cheeseburgers. All right, enough nonsense. Plo Koon, we're going to talk about Plo Koon. By the way, somebody asked me if those were Republic commandos behind him and if that was maybe a hint of something coming for Legion. I don't think so. I think those are regular clone troopers. I think this is a scene from Season 1 of the Clone Wars where the Malevolence kind of disabled their ship and they had to kind of get out of the ship and fight. So those are just clone troopers with their helmets on in space. And, of course, Plo Koon can survive for a little bit in space. So they kind of escaped the escape pod and went to kill some of these sentries. I think that's exactly what scene this is taken from. So he is Republic, he's a crew, he gives you, of course, a force, and really that's just such a good thing, is like putting Jedi on these ships to get that force recurring is awesome. And that's, again, you're going to need more and more tokens the more you use this, so, that's one of those reasons I keep advocating for luxury playstyle, so you can have lots of really, really cool looking tokens on your board. And they got 3 different finishes too, so if you want to go like dark side, you can get the dark. If you want light side, you get the really shiny ones. But you're also gaining a purple reinforce, which is a kind of a cool idea here. So at the start of the end phase, if you are reinforced, you may choose one friendly ship at range 0 or in your side arcs at range 1. That ship removes a deplete or strain token or repairs a face-up damage card. So I kind of like that because you're going to want to reinforce with this guy. Now, my guess is if you've got him on, on this ship, like if you got him on the LAAT, I guess you could spend the force to do the reinforce action and not take a stress. I think that's the idea here, is why you'd want to run him. I mean, but granted, you could run him anywhere else. But if you were running him here, I could see, I mean, this is a ship that probably wants to reinforce since it's only got 1 agility. I can definitely see that being an option, but I could see him being an option for other similar, slower type of ships. I could see that being an option. But you also have some, let's see, you can choose that ship, and it just removes it, or it just repairs it for free. It's like you don't have to spend anything. So it's good if you want to reinforce, and if you are doing it, he's repairing somebody else's face-up damage card for free, which is really nice. And it's at the start of the end phase. By the way, you don't usually lose reinforce tokens too easily. So, if you reinforced, you're going to get your benefit out of that. And then, oh, by the way, boom. So that's good. And it does specify friendly ship, so he's not going to accidentally heal another ship. So I think that's kind of a good card. It seems like it's the fact that it's giving you 3 different things that you could do. You can get rid of a deplete, a strain, or repair a card. Like, that's going to be really nice. And I think with some of the stuff that we're seeing coming up, like a lot of the first order stuff is going to be dealing with deplete and strain. So I think that'll be a good card to have. And we've got the HMP. Oh, yes, this thing. This thing is a small ship. Now, I will specify the other 2 ships are on a medium base. This one is on a small base. And we do have a lot of charge tokens. And one of the things we learned about that is maybe why. So that is good, because we're going to get 6 pilots on this one, but it looks like less upgrades overall. We're getting some missiles and some devices. We'll be able to drop some bombs and equip some missiles, probably, is what it looks like. We got to look at this guy's dial as well. They all have the 0 stop. This one does have a blue hard turn, however, which is kind of cool. It's like it's this cool thing that the droids all kind of have, is that their turns are different than their banks. How you can have a hard blue turn, but then a white 2 bank, which is just, you can have a blue 1 straight, but their banks are so hard, so they're very just machine-like. And that's pretty cool. So I dig that. The droids, separatists just take, a different kind of mentality for flying. So, I dig it. It's fun. Of course, we've got a string of upgrade cards here. There's a different type of bomb. It looks like, they're purple tipped bombs here. And that's kind of what we're seeing 2 of in the spread. Of course, we're going to get fuse tokens as well, and of course, it's coming with the fuses. You got some familiar missiles there. A new type of cannon. Looks like a 2 to 3 dice front arc cannon. So then we've got that. So apparently, this thing will also have a cannon slot, or some way to take cannons, or at least this one cannon. It could be one of those deals where it's a special cannon that can only go on this one ship and doesn't need the requirements, or who knows. But also a configuration that does something during setup, but I can't quite read all of that. Setup is probably just, it looks like equip this card face up, but reduce something, I can't read all of it, but we'll see it closer later on. We got 6 pilots, but low initiative numbers. We've got 1s, 2, a single 2, and a couple of 3s. It looks like 3s are predominant here. We've got 3 different 3s, 2 1s, and a single 2, and the 2 is limited. You can only have 2 of them. There's a unique 3, there's a generic 3, and then there's a limited 2-3 as well. And we've got a unique 1 and a generic 1. So you've got, you got a decent number. There are 2, 1, 5, 3, and they have that full frontal arc. They can calculate, target lock, red barrel roll, and they can reload into a red focus, red calculate, not focus. They're not going to be able to focus. And they also have some type of networked aim ability. It doesn't look like it's the same networked calculations that we've seen before, but I can't quite make out all of that text. One of the things that's important, though, they do talk about how this ship can do this strafe mechanic. Well, we don't see any strafing maneuvers on their dial. My guess is something in their ability is going to have something to do with when they do a red barrel roll. That's my guess. So if they're strafing, they're not doing other actions. That's probably why it's a red action or something like that. But it probably maybe treats, the speculation is that maybe it will treat that as a maneuver, so you can still, do it, whereas sometimes you might not be able to otherwise if you would bump or something like that. I'm really curious how that's going to work, or if it will just let them take their normal dial and move out the side instead of in front of you, and just change the way your ship moves fundamentally, which would be really weird. But my guess is it's going to be tied to barrel roll somehow. So we have multi-missile pods that are coming with this one. And this one's going to use 2 missile slots, 5 charge on it, so it's going to come with quite a bit. And it's got a full frontal arc, so much like the ship's native arc. It can only attack at range 1 to 2, and it rolls 2 dice. So it's a weak die, but you can spend extra charge to power it up a little bit more. So if they're in your front arc, they're in your normal native front arc. Not native, I guess that's the word. But if they're in your front arc, you can roll, an extra die if you spend a charge. Or if they're in your bullseye, you could instead spend 2 charge to roll 2 extra dice. Which is like, okay, it's flexible, but it's not that much more than your normal attack anyway. And since you can't go out to range 3 with it, I feel like if you're at range 2, and they're off to the side, you might as well just primary attack. I think the only time you do this is if they're in regular arc at range 2, or if they're at bullseye arc, and then you really want to spend all the charge so you can get a single extra die. Like if they're at range 1, you primary attack and you'd roll 3 dice anyway. So sometimes you're better off doing your primary attack. But I think the idea here is that you have the entire front arc covered from multiple ways, and if they're closer to your front, you get progressively more. I do expect this to be kind of a cheaper missile, though, because it doesn't seem like it's that much better than the ship's primary attack anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Doesn't seem all that great to me, so hopefully it'll be cheap. But yeah, so small base and then medium base ships, and they're set for second quarter, so looks pretty good. And that's it. I am still going to do Major Von Reg's tie. I don't, like, that article came out. I haven't talked about it yet. I am going to talk about it. It's just we've kind of been... I don't think they planned to put this article out quite just yet, but I think they got forced into it because of the leaks, and they said, all right, we'll just drop it now. So, hey, I'm grateful for it. It's cool to get new stuff. So make sure you guys subscribe and leave a comment to enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card. I should be announcing the winner for that next week. And that's all I got. Thank you to the patrons. You guys are amazing. And I will talk to you guys later. You all have a fantastic day.